I'm in the process of working on my game room video update for 2024. It's pretty much going to be talking about my entire collection and with a little bit of my gaming setup. A lot has changed with that since the last time I did one earlier this year. So I want to update it and give you guys a little look into how I'm gaming. And I started thinking, especially with the last video I did about the Super Sega FPGA, are people still playing on the original hardware? I seem like I'm the only one that's doing that. Now I know there's other people out there that in the retro gaming community who are playing on original hardware using OSSCs, using the retro tinks, all those upscales, whatever the case may be. But I feel like this may be a group of people that are really, really niche. I don't see a abundant of people that are in the retro gaming community are pretty much either buying these upscalers like that, not in like the millions, because I think that the retro gaming community is pretty much in the millions. I really believe that. But I don't think that a lot of them are playing on original hardware. Maybe they have one, maybe two consoles that are on original, but the most of the stuff, I honestly think they're probably just emulating or playing on their computers or on their tablets or their retro handhelds that you can get from overseas. I'm gonna talk about that and give you my thoughts and opinions about it. And if you think that I'm wrong or if you think that I'm right, please let me know in the comment section. I appreciate everybody who's been supporting the channel. Actually, coming through, clicking on the videos. I really appreciate you guys. Trying to get to 1,000 subs. Hopefully, you guys help me get there. I really appreciate it. And hopefully, everybody had a great weekend because I had a phenomenal weekend. Hung out with the family. I went to the Atlanta Falcons football game. Great win against the Cowboys. And my Georgia Southern Eagles, even they won, this weekend. So it was just been a phenomenal week overall and a great weekend. So hopefully you guys hang around and listen to the video. All right. The reason why I say this, because I look on like Facebook groups, I do look at stuff on X or Twitter and other spaces, Reddit or whatever the case may be. And I do see that there's a lot of people, if you are in those spaces, a lot of people are playing on original hardware in some cases. But I also see where people are just saying, you know what, I don't want to set all this stuff up. I'm not really a big fan of, keeping these things intact or unhooking them, hooking them up, taking them out my closet or whatever the case may be, taking them out the basement, taking them out the attic and hooking them up when I get ready. I just play on, on any other emulation device I can get, whether it be on my PC, whether I can find an Ambernick or one of these red Ambernick style handhelds, or even I just play it on my Nintendo Switch. Also, some of these retro games are on your Xbox and PlayStation 5 or even PlayStation 4 or hell, even PS3, Xbox 360 or any other console around that generation. So you can play like backwards compatible on like let's say for the Wii U or the Wii or the Switch or anything like that. And there's a form of emulation when you're playing like older games. Like how many people really do have an NES hooked up? You know what I mean? I have one hooked up. It's right over here. I have I have everything hooked up and I like to play on original hardware. And I'm one of the type of people that play in the purest form. It's one of the reasons why I did get another CRT. It was an RGB modded CRT and I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it takes me back to that time where gaming was simple and where I remember it. Now, I don't know, people rather do it through emulation and just get the scan line filters and just go all in on that flat screen TV or even on their handhelds. Because I remember when I had my Ambernick, full disclosure, I'm planning on buying another one sometime down the road because I do want or like a beefier handheld that did the old what was it, a 553 Ambernick I had. It was okay, but I want a better one now. And I see a lot of people playing on those devices now. There's like YouTube channels all over the place. But one thing, and that's another thing, the one place I noticed that there's not a lot of YouTube commentators really talking about playing on original hardware anymore. Not from what I see. I see a lot of people are playing games, but if they're playing on original hardware, they're not using original cartridges. They're using flash drives or they're using, like SD cards or whatever the case may be. Like, I don't see too many people like solely purely playing with the console and the cartridge or the CD along with it, or the DVD along with, and just playing it like in its original form. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I will say this. In the last year or so, I've been seeing less and less of that. And I've also seen the promotion of more FPGAs. And that's what made me want to think about making this video, because I've seen more of that where people are just playing on, they may play on original hardware, but they won't use the actual games, or they'll use an FPGA and they will play on, they will play with the actual cartridges on that. Like I said, I have an AVS NES, and I play my Nintendo games on that sometimes. But since I got this RGB modded CRT, I use the original Nintendo again, believe it or not. But neither here nor there. This is what I'm saying, especially, with the new FPGA, the N64 coming out, where did that put the N64? Which I'll probably do a whole different video on that sometime down the road, because I don't know what the specs or what this analog FPGA for the N64 is. I'm pretty sure it's phenomenal, like any other device they put out. But it's just something about the N64 that just gives you that charm and that feel of having it. I wanted to be able to replicate that, because it's really hard. If you play an N64 through S-Video on a CRT, it's just a whole different look that maybe that the analog, FPGA can mimic. I don't know. But, some people out here now, they're just in a space where they want the convenience. And I don't knock anybody for it. Like I said, I'm going to buy an Ambernic handheld just for that convenience. And I do have the emulators on my PC right here. I just don't use them. But for preservation purposes, I do have them just so I can, use them if something was to happen to any of these consoles and I don't want to use them anymore. I mean, that's just how it is. But I just feel like there's not too many people doing that anymore. There's a few consoles that are just really not viable to emulate, like the original Xbox. I mean, to me, I don't know if it's hard to emulate. Maybe they are emulating it, but I don't know. Not many people talk about that. I mean, the Dolphin emulator. I mean, nobody really talks about the GameCube in general. I mean, the GameCube has been emulated so well, nobody probably really used that. Look at the PlayStation 2. That is as well. That has been perfected. I made a video about that a while back, how it's nearly perfection now. Now people are getting into the PS3, Xbox 360, where they're starting to perfect that as well. So now we're looking in, when you look at everything up to the PlayStation 4, which they're starting to work on that as well. Everything, on down, PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U, everything on down has been pretty much emulated very well outside of the original Xbox. The N64 is a little shaky too. And there's some other consoles that are very obscure that's not really, I don't think they count, but they're out there. And at the end of the day, what I really mean by that is, like, people have so many choices. And I think it really, the way that the retro gaming community is set up now, if you're playing through emulation or FPGA, handheld, if you're playing on official emulation, to be quite honest, if you're just trying to get into this, that may be the better way to go. I've been in this collecting thing for over 20 years now. I've started, like, once I got out of high school, got into college, and I just started buying, I went back and started buying Super Nintendo, Dreamcast stuff. And I just started racking them all up. And now 20 years later, I have all of this stuff in here. And I don't feel like, I don't have any regrets or anything, but it's just like, that's how long it took me to get to where I am. And I don't have a big collection, but I don't know if anybody's willing to go through that entire hassle anymore when there's, so many easy ways to play a Sega Genesis game or a Super Nintendo game or NES game. It's just so easy out there. So I don't hear about it as much. Even, like I said, throughout the rumblings where you have like a CRT group on Facebook and another group here on, collecting games, another group, you don't hear about nobody really playing on these consoles. Most of the collection groups are basically guys who are just collecting the games. They're not buying the games to play them. A lot of them aren't. I mean, some of them are enthusiastic, but from what I've seen, a lot of them are just collecting just to have them. Some of them just don't have the time to play them. So they just, just collect them. So let alone just setting everything up to play them on a regular basis. So it's just like I said, those groups are there, and I don't know how big they are in general, because the masses, I'm pretty sure, especially with the way games are nowadays, not too many games nowadays are really, good enough in my opinion. So people do go back to retro games, and is it really viable to go out and start collecting? Um, I will say this: if you really want to get an original hardware, start with maybe one or two consoles. A couple of them that are real easy to get into is the Genesis, the PlayStation 2, and the original Xbox. That's if you want to go kind of far back in the retro game community or the retro gaming. PS3, Xbox 360, those are good spaces as well. But you can't go wrong. PS2, original Xbox. It is a lot of games there, and they're very cheap, and they're very, very high quality. I would try to stay away from other Sega consoles, Saturn and Dreamcast. I mean, unless you got money, you're good to go. And some of those games are, they're not hard to find, but you're gonna have trouble finding some games in good condition at this point. But nevertheless, I can ramble about this all day because I love original hardware. I love playing games in my original Xbox collection. I have over 20, 25 consoles, and I love every bit of it. I love playing all of them. And every now and then I get an itch to play one every now and then. But I know at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to play my games any other way. I mean, I love, the emulation and the technology, and as far how advanced it's gone, but I wouldn't want it any other way. And I love it. And to me, in my opinion, if you want to collect stuff that you really want as well. But that's pretty much what I gotta say, man. Playing on original hardware it just seems like it's unpopular now. Maybe I'm wrong. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I am going to call it a night. Got to get my Monday up and running again, because you work hard, you play hard, and that's what it's all about. And that cycle is about to start in the morning. All right, y'all. Let me get up out of here. Y'all take it easy. Hopefully, y'all have the great one, and y'all be blessed. Peace.